either younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely, like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps.
Terence Crawford reportedly agreed to Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s fight offer during a live interview with Stephen A. Smith. He explained that boxing for him is about pushing limits and stepping up to every challenge regardless of the opponent's size. Crawford stressed that the best fighters should face the best and showed calm confidence that sharing the ring with Mayweather would simply be another chance to prove himself and go beyond expectations.
Because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure. All money ain't good money, so you gotta know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
It's never easy.
Stephen A. Smith has never been shy about sharing strong opinions in sports, and boxing is no different. When he applauds Terence Crawford for capturing championships in 4 separate weight divisions, it goes far beyond a simple compliment. It is recognition of a rare accomplishment in today's boxing landscape, in a time when many fighters hesitate to jump between divisions because of the risks. Crawford's ability to dominate across 4 weights places him in a class of his own. Smith argues that this level of versatility and control confirms Crawford as a true all-time pound-for-pound great, highlighting his physical adaptability, elite technique, mental toughness, and the relentless hunger to test himself against tougher and tougher competition.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept his difference. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, masterful.
Roy Jones Jr., a legend who dominated across multiple weight classes, praised the brilliance of Terence Crawford inside the ring. He pointed to Crawford's fight with Canelo Alvarez, explaining how Crawford appeared to draw elements from the tactical playbooks of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Erislandy Lara, both fighters who had previously created problems for Canelo. According to Jones, Crawford's true greatness lies in his ability to study opponents, adjust instantly, and execute strategies in real time. What impressed him most was that Crawford did not simply copy those methods, he blended them naturally into his own style, making them even more effective. This level of adaptability separates him from many fighters who depend on one approach and often struggle when facing elite competition.
Been a great fighter his whole career. People like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier, more meaner than both of those guys. So if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there and take the blueprint and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox him, just what he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I know from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him like fighting, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. Bud got hit with some shots.
He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. He's going out, and Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a 2-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it. And sometimes that smile can be a lie. Sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is up.
The possibility of Terence Crawford stepping into the ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr., even for an exhibition, has sparked intense debate. Critics argue that such a matchup could cast a shadow over Crawford's legacy, saying that after signature wins over Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez, it might make him appear driven more by money than meaningful competition. Mayweather's recent focus on high-paying exhibition bouts rather than legacy-defining contests adds to those concerns, suggesting that sharing the ring with him could distract from Crawford's historic accomplishments. On the other hand, supporters insist Crawford's legacy is already secure. They believe facing Mayweather would not damage his record, but instead create a fascinating and unforgettable chapter in an already legendary career.
It's a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceive. Terence Crawford was just attempting to.
When fans compare Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, the conversation quickly becomes complex. Floyd's resume includes victories over some of boxing's most recognizable names, yet critics often examine the circumstances surrounding those wins. Canelo Alvarez was still young and developing when they fought, and Manny Pacquiao entered their 2015 showdown dealing with injury. Questions also remained because Mayweather rarely granted rematches, especially against Pacquiao, leaving some fans wondering how those rivalries might have played out again. Meanwhile, Crawford's dominance has come against opponents widely viewed as being at their peak. This contrast continues to fuel debate about whether Mayweather's legendary status reflects unmatched brilliance or perfectly timed matchmaking, while Crawford's rise is praised as fearless competition at the highest level.
Floyd Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation. But when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. Let's say the accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Portland. Probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. Not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s greatest advantage was never only his defense or lightning speed. According to boxing analyst Tony Jeff, the real weapon was his mindset. Floyd carried an unshakable belief that he could defeat anyone, and that confidence made him extremely dangerous. Even in tightly contested fights, his elite ring IQ and calm composure often gave him the edge. He had an extraordinary ability to study opponents, adjust in real time, and stay completely composed under pressure, qualities that separated him from fighters who depended solely on physical talent. Jeff explains that this psychological dominance, combined with precise technical skill, made Mayweather look almost unbeatable and ultimately allowed him to retire with a flawless record.
They're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I use this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure
either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete, or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me feel like the sky is the pieces.
The boxing world is ablaze with talk of a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. Benavidez brings enormous size, crushing power, and relentless aggression, presenting a genuine test for Crawford. Fans view this as the type of high-stakes challenge that could further cement Crawford's legacy. While no official announcement has been made, the speculation underscores what fans truly crave: fights that define history, not just generate paydays. Crawford versus Benavidez promises a thrilling battle of skill versus size, precision versus raw power, a dream matchup for boxing enthusiasts everywhere.
That shocked the world this past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, where he took on and defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majimov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who was a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion. Undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling from for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right?
Comparing Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford isn't a debate with an easy answer. Both have ruled over the top fighters of their times. Mayweather's flawless record and defensive genius defined his era, while Crawford's skill at moving up in weight and still dominating opponents is equally extraordinary. Their careers unfolded under different circumstances, making direct comparisons tricky in the end. Declaring one greater than the other may be impossible, but together they represent the pinnacle of boxing excellence.
What's going to happen? Crawford was to win. We'll be seeing a lot of this debate on whether or not Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford is going to be better. And it's going to be a debate for a long, long time. I'm talking about one of those debates like LeBron versus MJ, Messi versus Ronaldo. It's one of those. And the thing is, I can get behind it. Let me go ahead and say this. When it comes to resume, I do think we give Floyd Mayweather an edge. I mean, he's a bunch of champions. He reigned for a long time. While Crawford, his resume is heavily criticized, and he's just not getting, his kind of respect for beating Earl Spence and Canelo Alvarez. So if we're talking strictly off of skills, this is where things get really, really tough to talk about. I think a fair perception of this matchup would be Floyd Mayweather wins from 135 to 140, while Crawford wins from 147 to 154. And I say that because I feel like Floyd's style changed once he got to welterweight. He became a more defensive fighter, and he just wasn't as much focused on offense. And knowing this, I feel like Crawford would have had a much better chance of handling him. And we all know Crawford was an absolute monster at welterweight. But man, like I said, this is going to be a debate for a very long time. Can't wait to hear all talk about it. I'm curious your thoughts. Who you think wins in the fight? Floyd, Chancellor Crawford? Talk about it. Follow me.
Greg Hackett's perspective on Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez emphasizes the symbolic importance of the fight by calling Canelo the best in boxing. Hackett highlights just how dominant and feared he had been for over a decade. Crawford didn't just compete. He took control and dismantled him, signaling a dramatic shift in power. Hackett sees Crawford as the new apex predator of the sport. The fighter everyone now respects and fears. This victory didn't merely boost his resume, it reshaped boxing's landscape, establishing Crawford as the man who dethroned the Shark and stepped into the role of hunter.
You gotta remember, Canelo is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, you know, big bad wolf. Beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, I'm gonna fight. You beat the Shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Man, like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. There's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up?
That shit gotta make sense. Like you said, the shark means be the wolf.
Yeah.
But there's the monster.
Yeah, yes, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, that's that. It don't make sense. But that's what.
Monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pink in the building. Legend.
Sure, man.
But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your line of suits, get your money, man. Yeah, go ahead and get the easy money, man. You ain't gotta sweat no more. Not saying you ain't gotta work, you ain't gotta sweat. He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just whatever, doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody, the fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times, fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's because when a guy see himself up here and then fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he trains, he not gonna really train. He's gonna train, but he not gonna train. He's not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious, and he's like, man, this ain't it.
Terence Crawford's triumph over Canelo Alvarez marked a career-defining moment, wiping away any lingering doubts about his greatness. His prior win against Errol Spence Jr. had already silenced critics, demonstrating his ability to control a fight from start to finish. But taking apart Canelo, a fighter widely regarded as nearly untouchable, firmly cemented Crawford's legacy in boxing history. Analysts now widely recognize that these victories place him among the sport's all-time elite, with his dominance across multiple weight classes leaving little room for argument.
And I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, but then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, oh, it was good, and I'm like, okay. I saw somebody like, they're squabbing, like there's a fight here, so I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't. James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, you know, he's not gonna. But Crawford.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more insights and breakdowns, and we'll catch you in the next one.